Blackwater, Louisiana. 1972. This story is real, and what was found in that cellar, you will never forget. She welcomed every guest with a smile. She made them feel safe, but not many of them ever checked out. In the early 1970s, deep in the swamps of Blackwater, Louisiana, there was a woman locals simply called Barbara Q. Nobody knew her last name. Nobody asked. She had been there longer than anyone could remember, and everyone loved her. She ran a bed and breakfast, 15 miles off the nearest highway, down a dirt road on no map. The only way you found it was if someone who had already been there told you how to get there. People who stayed said it felt unlike anywhere else they had slept. Warm, familiar, like somewhere you never wanted to leave. She always had guests, and every single one of them loved her. Every morning without exception, Barbara served her famous beef stew. Guests raved about it. They begged her for the recipe. She always smiled. She always said no. In September 1972, a salesman named Ray Zens broke down on a back road through Blackwater. Someone at a gas station mentioned Barbara's place. He had nowhere else to go, so he went. Barbara answered before he knocked, showed him to a clean, warm room, made him feel completely at ease, and then just as she was leaving, she stopped, turned around, looked him directly in the eyes, and said, "Does anybody know that you are here?" Ray laughed, thought it was just small talk, said no. Nobody knew where he was, just passing through. Barbara smiled, nodded slowly, and pulled the door closed. Ray didn't think anything of it. He should have. Deep in the night, Ray woke up. No sound, no movement, just that feeling. The one that tells you, you are not alone. He turned his head, and there she was, standing at the foot of his bed, completely still, in the dark, singing, softly, an old lullaby, one he had never heard before. Ray reached for the lamp. The light came on, and she lunged, screaming, clawing, her face completely unrecognizable. Whatever she had been showing him was gone. Ray broke free and burst into the hallway. He woke every guest in the building. Someone called the police, and they all stood there together in silence, waiting for sirens. When police searched the property, they found something in the cellar beneath the kitchen, something that explained everything, something that made every person who had ever eaten Barbara's stew physically ill. The stew, the famous stew, served every morning with a smile. It was not beef. It had never been beef. Barbara didn't run, didn't cry, didn't ask for a lawyer. She sat down, folded her hands, and looked at the officers with completely empty eyes and said, "Normally, they don't fight back." Ray Zens was the only guest who ever checked in and checked back out alive. He never drove through Blackwater again. He never ate beef stew again. And if you ever find yourself 15 miles off a Louisiana highway and someone mentions a little bed and breakfast down the road, keep driving, subscribe, because the next story is worse.